Zoom. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
There you go. Okay, so let's get going. I always see the very clever people putting up disclaimers in their presentation. So here are mine. The first is I'm a clinician. Um, I'm not an academic, so I hope you're not expecting a very academic lecture, because then you will be disappointed. But OT is a science, so this talk will focus on tips for the use of occupational therapy via telepractice. It's not a lecture on occupational therapy, so just bear that in mind as we go on. And then a week ago, I learned from a teenager that I am apparently called a boomer, which means I was born very long ago, and that means I'm technologically a little bit impaired. So, as you saw at the start of, of the talk, there might be a bit of technical glitches. So please just bear with me and have some grace. And then just on a more serious note, thank you to Adrian from IT Web for assisting me in a crash course on Zoom. Okay, and then I am married to a gamer, and my son, who's a teenager, also loves playing games. And in a way, I'm thankful because it keeps me in tune with what teenagers are busy with. But at the moment, I kind of feel like Nathan Drake. Um, and I think many of you do. This is totally uncharted territory that we're in at the moment. Telehealth is something very new to me, and I think that's what my talk is about. The fact that I'm definitely a novice when it comes to, um, well, in gaming terms, a noob, when it comes to technology and using technology to do therapy. But what I do know about is therapy with kids, and hopefully we can draw on that. And maybe my talk will set you guys at ease if you are feeling totally out of your depth at the moment in terms of technology, in terms of how are we going to use this new means of communicating with our clients. Then we're in this together, and I think that's what makes me feel a little bit better. And I'm going to read this quote to you from Brene Brown, which says, "This pandemic experience is a massive experiment in collective vulnerability." Um, in collective vulnerability. So we can either be our worst selves when we're afraid or our very best, bravest selves. In the context of fear and vulnerability, there's often very little in between because when we are uncertain and afraid, our default is self protection. We don't have to be scary when we're scared. Let's choose awkward, brave, and kind, and let's choose each other. So that's my my motto at the moment is we're in this together, and we can make mistakes together and we can help each other together. So just on a very personal note, just in terms of my intent and motivation, and I see many people, and I understand it, scared and anxious in terms of income, especially if you're in private practice. But I think if we're doing the work and we're doing it well, that part will come. So there's a difference between offering a service and being willing to serve. They may both include giving, but only one is generous. So that's just from my side to take to heart that yes, we are in a serving profession, um, but our first priority needs to be our clients' well-being, not our own profit. And then therefore we need to remember that we have to abide by certain regulations as put down by the HPCSA and also the Ethical Code of Conduct. So having said that, I'm forever an optimist. So therefore, let's get to this, to infinity and beyond. So what the talk is going to look like is a very small bit of theory. I'm the kind of girl that likes to eat my cake and then the icing. So we're going to eat the cake and leave the icing for last, and that's the practical part, which is going to be most part of the talk. And then also to let you guys know, you don't have to take notes while I'm talking. You can if you want to, but the PowerPoint will be available in PDF if you want the notes afterwards. In due time, Dion will post it on the group. So yes, So I see if I look at the very reliable research, it says that only 2% of the actual meeting content is looked at when people watch something on Zoom. So either checking out each other's houses or dress code or hearing the dogs bark in the background. So therefore, the PowerPoint will be available afterwards. Okay, and the practical will be on why do we use play with kids, how to set up your virtual playroom, lots of ideas on activities. And then the intention was to show a video clip of a session that I did this morning with a little one. But it seems the connections aren't allowing it, so I'm just going to show a few photo clips on that. Okay, so in the notes, I won't say occupational therapist and occupational therapy in writing. It will be OT, child and adolescent mental health. We also be abbreviated, and then I work with children and adolescents. I'm going to say child or children most of the time, but it also refers to your adolescents and your teenagers. Okay, so when I started reading on this totally new subject, I came across literature referring to telehealth already in occupational pediatric practice, and the four main areas of focus were sensory integration, which I will say nothing about because Elise Jans from Rensburg will be talking about that tomorrow evening at 8. Also fine and gross motor skills, visual motor skills, and then also school-related or self-care skills. So that's the main focus in the literature that I could find. And then if I look at mental health, because in my practice it's a combination of mental health in pediatrics, it actually showed how telehealth can make a huge contribution and address a lot of unmet needs in mental health. There's an overwhelming need for therapy. If you look at the stats in the United States, they had a survey last year that said 43.8 million Americans have a mental health crisis per year, of which 60% of those do not receive the treatment they need. And I think in South Africa, it might look very similar. And what are the fundamental reasons that people don't access or are scared to access mental health services is lack of accessibility and lack of resources, the funds, the means to get there, and telehealth kind of addresses many of those issues. And then whether we want to admit it or not, mental health still has a huge stigma around it. So the fact that someone can access mental health services online makes it very discreet and also then easier and more convenient and private for some patients to access. There are many pros and cons, specifically if you look at mental health for children. I'm just going to highlight some. For myself, believe it or not, crawling around on all fours with little ones all day also takes its toll on one's body. So it's less strenuous. And what I like about it is that there's a lot of emphasis on patient education. It's not just all on the therapist, but a lot of the responsibility on the client or the child and the family. What I don't like and what I was scared about was the lack of human touch, especially in mental health. You see a lot of kiddies who don't have access to consistent caring touch. So for me, that part is lacking. Child therapy involves a lot more doing than talking, which I did foresee as a problem in terms of how are we going to play online. And then in our country, the huge concern for me was lack of technology resources, especially in rural areas. And then little ones, though, some of them have wonderful technological skills, and the very small ones will not be able to operate the technology. So those are just some of the pros and cons. And then this is not for new intake clients, but if you look at your current clientele, you have to ask a couple of questions to consider, will this child benefit from telehealth? Because it's not for everyone. So I think it's important for therapists to develop their own screening protocol or questionnaire to help them determine, is this child an appropriate candidate for online OT or not? So there are a couple of questions, and I think these questions are just not just for mental health, but in any therapy setting. The child's attention span, are there any visual, hearing impairments, cognitive deficit? If so, how severe? Do they have access to basic toys? For example, when you plan a session, will they have something like paint or Play-Doh or balloons, or do you have to adjust to adapt to the session? And then does the child feel comfortable with technology? Unfortunately, many kids do, but it might also involve the fact that some families have a value system where they don't really want their child to connect online. Also, is there a good support system in mental health, especially if you are busy working on emotions and the child suddenly has an emotional um, meltdown? Is there someone that can assist? Are there any sensory issues that you might figure that you should be aware of? Behavioral issues, things like self-harm. Is there someone that can be with the child after the session if some things can out? And then also, what is the fine motor skills? Right, and then I think especially with children, we sometimes need e-helpers, which just means an assistant, which can be a family member, a mom or a dad, an older brother or sister that can just help the child set up if it's a younger child in terms of the session. And they can help with numerous things, setting up online, like I did with the little girl I saw this morning, where dad set up the laptop for her. Children have a very limited understanding sometimes of space and time. So it's just to help with the schedule of when and which day and at what time they need to be ready. If there's technical issues, like I had initially, luckily I had Tian as an e-helper to get me to share my screen with you guys. And then if there are specific exercises, like the blowing up the balloon today, I needed the mom to just fire the balloon. Physically helping with certain skills, demonstrating or guiding. I'm thinking of kids with motor planning issues, where there's guided movement, modifying the child's environment, controlling challenging behaviors, as I said, with meltdowns. And then also, if it's in a school setting, escorting learners to classroom and then communicating between the parents and the teachers. So I'm not going to look at basic equipment technologically wise because I'm clueless. So there you can ask an expert, but I did write some of the specifications in the notes that will be posted. Okay, so take is gone. You managed to sit through the theory. Let's get practical. Okay, so why do we use play? Very importantly, as OTs, it's all in the name, occupational therapist. And for children, one of the main occupations is play. It's school, and then personal care. And then of course sleep, that's also very important. So in occupational therapy, play can be used either as a means to an end or as a goal. So for example, if you have a kitty with, let's say, full range of movement, in a physical setting, you might use table tennis or ping pong to improve range of motion. So you're using play as a means to improving a certain occupational performance component. And the same with mental health. We are using play as a means to promote emotional and social well-being. Why? Because play is a child's work. Um, it's the way they learn, and it's also their way of communicating. So Jean Piaget said, play is the work of childhood, and therefore we often use play, not just in mental health. I want to read these quotes to you. Play is often talked about as if it were a relief from serious learning, but for children, play is the serious learning, and that's why we then use play. So to enter into children's play, you will find the place where their minds, their hearts, and their souls meet. Okay, so what have I been seeing in practice this past week? Um, I'm kind of someone that doesn't watch the news and act like an ostrich and don't want to see what's going on around me. But the past couple of weeks, I had a bit of a reality check and realized that this is not just out there, it's affecting me, it's affecting my family, my children. with my work and also my clients. So what I've been seeing in the practice the last week before lockdown was increased anxiety amongst existing clients already struggling with anxiety, increased anxiety amongst existing clients with no history of anxiety, which I'm seeing for different reasons, increased anxiety amongst the parents of, of existing clients, but also then increased anxiety amongst adults in general. And I think that kind of is also why this group was formed. So just a couple of pointers when you work with anxiety and also with trauma, because this is what we are dealing with at the moment, trauma, and we don't know how long it's going to last, is to build into your session some sense of predictability, routine and structure. So even if you have your sessions online with kids, you have a specific day, a specific time, and also maybe a specific room that they use, and then also familiarity. So I will show you later of the setup that I've created for my kids that look very much the same as the practice setting that they used to. So it's familiar to them. And because trauma kind of takes away our sense of control, in sessions we need to give clients a sense of control. And with kids, allowing for choices is a very important part of um, dealing with anxiety. Okay, so what are the actual concerns that the children have voiced? Um, Believe it or not, some are really scared of falling behind with schoolwork. I had two siblings in my practice, and I asked them how they were feeling about the whole lockdown, and the one was jumping with joy because there's a longer period that she doesn't have to go to school, and the other one was in tears because she was scared. How is she going to manage falling behind with schoolwork? She has to go to high school next year. Will there be enough time once the schools reopen to complete the work? Some of them are scared that they won't be able to get enough exercise. Some are scared about food and supplies. Others are scared about other people not following the rules. Some feel bored at home and are scared about the fact that what on earth are they going to be doing for this time. Some are really missing their friends. Some are scared and worried about their parents and their grandparents' health and mortality, or even their own health and safety and mortality, and feelings of isolation, helplessness and a loss of control. Okay, so when Tian asked me to do this talk, I thought, no way, because in my mind, I couldn't even begin to think of how am I going to do a play session on a virtual platform. And then I came across this very assuring quote from an article called Empathy and Mirror Neurons in Sync. And I'm going to read it to you. It says, while it may seem counterintuitive to attempt authentic and meaningful connection through technology, neurobiology of attachment speaks to the fact that mirror neurons are activated while in attunement within a relationship, even through a screen. You know, when we cry, when we watch a movie, those rom-coms, that's evidence. So even though we won't be able to play all the games we did in the playroom, there are certainly some things that we definitely will be able to still do. Okay, so what are we gonna do in terms of what the practice looks like? I think I gave a couple of hints there, and now I'm going to show you what my virtual playground looks like at the moment. So there's a hospital, which I think is quite appropriate at the moment, since a lot of kids have concerns about health, their own health and family members. There's a medical aid kit with toys in, chocolate substances over there, and a lot of soft toys when it comes to nurturing and self-care. I've got my writing materials, balloons, straws, some of my check-in goodies are underneath there. And this is, I'm lucky to practice from home, so I can still use the things in my practice, even though I'm in lockdown. So I try to create a space that will make the kids feel familiar and at home. And over here we've got um, the puppet theatre with some of the puppets, and then we've got some writing materials, tissues if I need to try, a baby and some musical instruments. So that's kind of the setup at the moment that I have. And of course, I can get up and grab other goodies, but it's good to have the most important things nearby. So you get another idea. And what it actually looks like is chaos. So it's just a very small part that I've set up. So maybe also put your minds at ease that you can, in your living room, in your dining room, in your room where I'm sitting now, you can also create a space that children can still play in online. So there you go. That's what it looked like this morning when I had my session. And there on the other side, my daughter was playing. So yes, when it comes to activities, planning is key. I think I realized that today when I had a session with a little girl for the first time, my very first session this morning, is because parents might have to do a bit of structuring on the other side where the child is. You have to be very well prepared. You have to know what you're going to do, what you might need, even extras. And I think that ITs are very good at, you have to be able to improvise on the spot. So I think that is very important. And then also we have to start thinking out of the box. We have to think, how can we adapt certain activities and games so that we can still enter online, interplay with kids. Okay, I think what's just important there as well is to, let me just go back to say that you don't need a whole bunch of expensive toys. You can still make this work with inexpensive things, even in rural areas. I think if you've got some kind of clay, paper, and something to draw with, you're good to go. Okay. And also, you see some of the activity sheets. I'll be able to mail it to some of my clients. But in rural areas, you can ask the child to develop their own and to draw with you as we go on. So always in the beginning of a session, we have a time that we check in. And I think it's also good to, at the end of the session, to check out and to see what the child is feeling at that moment. So I'm going to ask Tian to come online with me again. I promised him I'd do this to make sure that he's actually listening. There you go. Tian is paying attention. Okay, so I'm going to do a quick exercise with Tian, what you as an example of what you can do to check in with the kid. So we've got the characters from Inside Out, and they're different colors. So if Tian doesn't know what their faces and moods are, it's okay. You can just tell me the red one or the yellow one or the blue one. So Tian, I want to know how, and I think maybe the rest of the group wants to know, how are you doing this afternoon? Right there where you're sitting amidst everything that's going on in your practice and online, how are you feeling at the moment? Which color would you choose? And you are allowed to choose more than one.
Okay, so I'm feeling anxious but excited at the same time.
Okay, so I'm going to think it might be the purple one, and also, there you go. We've got one, so I'm going to take the others away. Do you want to tell us why you're feeling a bit anxious?
Obviously the stress with the corona that's going on at the moment, and the effect that it has on our practices, but yeah, that's the main thing why I'm anxious.
Okay, and they're happy and enjoying?
The excitement of what telehealth is going to bring to South Africa and the future for us.
Okay. All right, and I'm gonna tell you how I'm doing. I'm also very excited about this whole endeavor. I'm gonna add sadness. Yeah, I'm very much an extrovert, so I'm missing a lot of my friends, which makes me sad, but also joyful in terms of that we have technology. And 30 years ago, when I was a kid growing up, I would not be able to make a video call to my friends in lockdown elsewhere. But today, here we are, sitting and chatting. So joyful about that. Thank you, Tian.
Awesome.
Okay, so checking in is a very important part of the therapy session. So there are many different ways that you can check in with the students because their moods and their emotions can definitely vary from day to day, even within a day. So I'm just going to show you some activities that you can do. You can lay out these, or you can have a whiteboard with magnets where the kids can tell you how they're feeling and show you which emotion applies to how they're doing today. You can make your own magnets with different emotions on. You get a whole lot of worksheets online in terms of emotions where the child can have one that you email to them and they can color which emotions they are feeling at the moment, or they can create their own ones where they can draw 4 or 5 emotions that they're feeling um, most often and indicate how they're feeling at the beginning of the session or afterwards. Um, here are just a couple of other aids that you can use. There's an example of a card game with where you can play Snap and you can show the different cards and ask them, like, which animal are you feeling today? I'm feeling like a very angry buffalo because I'm bored and my mom's busy working and doesn't want to play with me today. Or I'm feeling like the hippo and she looks excited because now finally mommy or daddy has time. They have to play with me because they don't go to the office. Just some other examples. A nice game to use with older kids with a greater variety of emotions. And you can use this for the check-in, but you can also use it when you're working on skills in terms of reading body language or showing with your body. If you're feeling shocked, showing the written word and ask the child to show. What does their face or their body look like when they're shocked, or when they're powerless, or when they feel grumpy? These ones work very nicely with your younger kids to show the different eddies. And again, if they can't name the emotion, you can ask them, what does the blue one feel like? And they can say that one looks a bit sad, it doesn't feel well. So then you can also try and work on emotional vocab and say, okay, when he's not feeling well, what does that mean? Because not well can mean angry, it can mean anxious, it can mean sad. So you're also trying to elaborate there emotional vocabulary so next time they can express themselves better. And then there are some DIY ones, and please don't analyze them. It's just my own ones just for the sake of the session. So you can ask the child to draw 4 empty cups and to label them. And if they can write the words to say, this is my sad cup, this is my angry cup, this is my um, sad, my anxious cup, and then they can indicate how empty or how full is that cup at the moment to get an idea of how they're doing. And yeah, there's a bored cup as well, a sleepy one, or tired. And there's another way of doing it by showing what does my heart look like at the moment. How big a piece of my heart is feeling sad? How big a piece is feeling scared at the moment? How big a piece is feeling happy or being angry? To check in. Okay, so here are some activities in terms of building rapport. So this could be with new clients, or in the case that we are with the situation that we're currently in South Africa, with the HPCSA guidelines saying that we are allowed to use this with our existing clientele. Um, Especially some of those kids that you don't know well enough, it's getting to know each other games. So you get incomplete sentences, and all of these I will make available to you guys online on the Facebook page as well. The game I will talk about just now. I spy could be things that I see when I look at the child on screen that I can see behind things that they must verify, and things that they spy behind me on the screen. And also kind of treasure hunt, look for things that you like to smell in the room, or don't find something in the house that you like to touch or to feel or to look at. So a variety of games. You actually get some online games where you can share the screen like Dion and myself are doing at the moment, where you can play online in real time with the child while seeing each other's faces. You get dice breakers. The dice is something that most of us have in our house, even if it's just for snakes and ladders. And you can take turns. If I roll the dice and it lands on a one, let's say, for example, it says, which superhero would you most want to be and why? Okay. And then the child can roll on their side and they have to answer a question um, regarding the number that they rolled. Okay, then spin the bottle. Not the traditional one that most of us know. It's not a kissing game. But you can have them create their own one where on their side they have a piece of paper or a paper plate that they can divide into different segments with different colors, and you can write different things on it. It can be different emotions where you spin the bottle and they have to say, when do I feel angry? What do I do when I get angry? When do I feel sad? On the right-hand side, you will see a spinner that has physical activities on it. Like if you spin the bottle and it lands on the one, you have to do a dance move, or you have to gallop from one side of the room to the other. Or it can be random questions about what is your favorite thing to eat, your favorite game to play, and then you can empower the kids and give them choices. Tell them what would they like to write down on the board, and giving them a bit of a sense of control. And then I'm going to need you again, Tian. Another game that you can play online is Never Have I Ever. So you ask the child to create a little um, piece of paper that has either a yes or a no on either side, and you have to hold it here up against your head, and you can take turns asking questions. So yeah, you can go first. You can ask me any question you want, and I'll have to answer truthfully, and I'll answer by means of like that. Okay, so I'm ready for you.
Have you ever been in an accident?
A car accident or any accident?
Car accident?
Both. I have been in a car only once, and I've also broken my ankle. So yes. Okay, so now I've got a question for you. Let me use one of those on the screen. So you must show me with your card. Have you eaten your own booger? Have you ever eaten your own booger, Dion? It's like truth or dare. Are you thinking?
There's that, yes.
Okay, thank you for your honesty, Dion. Okay, so there's a game that you can create with a child. It's a fun way of getting to know each other. And you can ask them, you can have a list of questions, but you can have them ask their own question like Dion did just now. Thank you, Dion. It was a big sport. Okay, so then there's a game called the Ungame with random questions that you can play the same way that we did now. Or you can make up your own questions. When do you get angry? Do you ever feel lonely? If you had to move and to take only three things with you, what would you take? That might be a very relevant question to the times we're in right now. What are your valuable things? The best advice you've ever received, 10 famous people you would like to have for parents and why. It could be an interesting one. Okay, so those are just ideas of getting to know a child and playing non-threatening games to become their friend in therapy. Okay, so building ego strength, making children feel confident, especially in this time of feeling helpless and powerless. You can make a list or draw or paint or sculpt things that they like, things that they don't like. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? They can either also then draw or paint or sculpt. And then with any medium, you can either use clay, painting, you can use animal figures or cards that they can make themselves of animals, um, different miniatures like I did with the emojis I can use and ask them to pick some that I picked out for them, or they can bring some of their toys along. And then ask questions like, build with clay, how do I see myself? how do I think other people see me? How would I like to be seen? They can then either draw it, choose an animal to represent it. So I think many different media that we can use to express how we think about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, um, and how we wish to be. Okay, and then games for emotional expressions online. Um, Many of the games that we used that I mentioned for checking in and checking out at the end of a session, you can also use for emotions. You can have the child for life-size drawing of themselves, or they can draw it on a piece of paper, and you can talk about, when I get angry, when my body do I feel it? Do I feel it in my fist? Do I go like this? Or does my feet feel like stomping? If I'm sad, where do I feel it? In my heart, or maybe in my face, when I can feel the tears going down, and talk about what you can do then when you feel these different emotions. And then just a couple of games that you can still play. The child can have a dice on their side, and you can have the board um, also in their side, at your side. And while you play the game, you can show them the questions. If they want to read it themselves, you can show it towards the screen. So you can still play those games. A couple of other ideas, card games with different feelings, where the child can pick one that shows how they feel today and express ideas and brainstorm with you in terms of, okay, so um, when I feel unloved, what can I do? When I feel hurt, what can I do? Who can I tell? How can I be good to myself in those times? Here's a game with two dice that you can roll. The one dice has an emoji on, and the other one has different questions. So, for example, make a scared face, or what do you do when someone else is feeling scared? So you can talk about those things and about skills in terms of empathy and emotional intelligence. Some nice cards as well, where you show something that's happening. And what's nice about these cards is they actually have prompts at the back that ask questions, where you can ask the child, how do you think the bunny is feeling? What do you think made him feel like this? What if you were there, what would you be able to say to the bunny? And then I really like this animation. It's not my own. You can see where it comes from. But often kids with anxiety struggle with this thing of what is within my control and what is not within my control. And they worry about things that they have no control over, which is um, actually a waste of our energy. So this animation is specifically with regards to the coronavirus. So there's a lot of things that we can control and others we can't. So for this activity, yeah, you don't have to show yourself, but I asked him, and some of you might have seen it on the Facebook page, if you have a piece of a stone or a rock and some Play-Doh with you, there's a very nice activity that you can do. So if you guys did bring it along, you can just pick up your rock for now. So here's the activity. I want you to hold the rock in your hand, and I want you to squeeze it as hard as you can. So you can do it with me if you want, Tian. Okay, are you able to change the rock when you do that, Tian? Is the rock changing its shape?
No, not at all.
Not at all. You need to go to the gym more often, Tian. or exercise at home in lockdown. Okay, so nothing is happening. Okay, now take Play-Doh in your hand and squeeze it a bit as hard as you can. Okay, can you change the shape?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so you can mold it and you can move it around in your hand. Okay, so the rock is kind of like the things that I'm not able to control. Now, I can squeeze it as hard as I like for as long as I like. I won't be able to change its shape. But the clay is something that I do have control over. And then you can, thank you, Kia, and then you can ask the child, let's make a list of the rocks at this stage. What are the things that I cannot control? I can't control whether other people wash their hands or not. I can't control whether other people are doing their homework or not. I can't control how long this virus and the whole lockdown situation will last. But what can I control? Like the Play-Doh. I can control my attitude. I can control whether I wash my hands or not. I can control whether I watch TV all day or whether I don't play outside a bit or play a game with my brother or sister. I can control whether I find fun things to do at home and whether I'm active or not. So this is a nice game that you guys can play online with the kids with material that they should be able to find at home. Okay, and then a lot of nice clips on Sesame Street's website on different emotions. So, like we are sharing the screen now, you can even play some of those things on anger and different emotions for the kids while you are online with them. This one is a clip on feeling anxious. There are many other nice ones that you can go and find. This is a story that I will share with you on the page as well. A lovely story that was written now by a therapist called Ana Gomez that explains the coronavirus and the lockdown in terms of an analogy with an oyster and a butterfly, which is a lovely little book that you can use with your kiddies online, or you can even email it to them if the parents want to read it with them. And then, I don't know, in English you call it fortune tellers, in Afrikaans we used to call it wakkies. So it's these little things that we would fold and then we would ask, pick a color and it's red and then you have to move it 3 times. So you can create these with the kids. They can have a blank piece of paper and create their own. And you can have one on when I'm angry, what can I do? When I feel stressed or worried, what can I do? And after you've made it, they can go and play it with family members as a way of carryover of what they learned in the session. Okay, you can use puppets behind me. And here you see I have a little puppet, very well behaved, it's got his mask on. So you can use puppets for checking in as well to say, hello guys, how are you doing today? And you can, if they don't have puppets at home with them, you can have them use soft toys to talk to you and to express how they're feeling today. You can use music, create a sad song, an angry song. You don't need music instruments. They can create their own pots and pans, shakers with rice in, movement. Show me what you move like when you're angry. Show me your angry dance. Show me your happy dance. Show me your scared dance, where you can use a lot of movement. Something like tearing up newspaper and rolling it into a little ball and throwing it into a basket. Nice way of getting a bit of anger and aggression out as well. Then the last one is ideas for emotional regulation online. There are many different things that you can do. I'm going to name just a few things that you only need cotton wool and a straw with. And why is this important? At the beginning of the session, I would ask a child, show me what your face and your body looks like when you get really upset. And they might go like, nah. Or when you're very scared, they kind of hold their breath. Or when you're very sad, start crying and not getting enough air. And then we'll talk about the importance of breathing and how breathing and breathing exercises and mindfulness can really alter our mood and help us relax and regulate our emotions. So these are just a couple of games that kids can play. Blowing bubbles, of course, balloons. We often use these Smarties being sucked up and put into a plate. Another breathing exercise. Pinwheel can be a very nice creative exercise where the child creates their own pinwheel on the other side of the screen, and you can then use it and blow it, and it looks very nice. It's calming for them, but also to do with breathing. Soft toys and creating a safe space like a little tent or a little hideout when they feel anxious or scared can help. And then also DIY calming jars where they can make their own to look at when they feel really emotional. And then, of course, relaxation therapy and or mindfulness exercises that you can teach them for times when they feel really dysregulated. Here's another last game. Sometimes I feel cards, developed by an OT, Sarah Allen. where you can ask them, but what do you do when you feel dysregulated and out of control? And they can first brainstorm some ideas and share what they usually do. And then you can show them the cards and ask them, what do you think? Which of these could work when you're feeling angry? Which one of these could work when you're feeling sad? And you can explore those with them. Okay, I was going to show a video clip of my session this morning, but when Tian and I tried it, there was a bit of a technical glitch. So I'm just going to show you 2 photos of a session I had this morning. It's a little girl called Emma. She's not a client. It's a friend and colleague's daughter that was willing to be my guinea pig this morning and play with me. And we did an exercise where we used balloons to show negative ways of dealing with our emotions, and then having to brainstorm what else can we do? How can we let our emotions out in healthy ways? So that just shows a little bit of the fun that we did have this morning. And then the last bit, self-care online, where we can discuss things of how can I be good to myself? And it comes in, well, hand in hand with emotional regulation, how we can use exercise, music, healthy eating, playing, resting, to make sure that we stay healthy, especially in the time of lockdown, that we make sure that kids are involved in different activities and not just sitting all day or sleeping all day or eating all day. And then something that I'm not that knowledgeable about is using technology to our advantage. So this is actually a game that was developed by the Institute of Mental Health in Singapore. And I came across this at a congress of SACAPAC, the Association for Child and Adolescent Psychiatry and Allied Health Professions. And it was Professor Daniel Woong who told us about this game, and I actually checked it out. It's a game that you can recommend for kids, where the game is designed to encourage players to learn certain social responsibility, to pick up some skills with regards to anger management and social communication in a very fun and engaging environment. So it's a game that was designed specifically for social emotional skills. And through the gameplay, the child develops skills in identifying their emotions, taking different perspectives, coping skills, empathy, pro-social skills, and problem solving. So it's something that they can then play online or online together with you. And then just a couple of other apps that I came across. The one is again Sesame Street, that has a very nice Breathe, Think and Do app for kids. Another one is Headspace with different meditations. Here's for different ages. There you see one all for kids under 5, one for 6 to 8-year-olds, and one for 9 to 12-year-olds. And then another one was like How's Lucky Feeling, an app where you have to, for example, choose appropriately which one, where is Lucky feeling angry, and you have to swipe it to the question mark. Just a note there is that if you do use apps or recommend apps or games to parents, just make sure that you've played it yourself, because some of them appear very child-friendly but have inappropriate advertisements in between. So just make sure that it is safe to use for kiddies online. Okay, the good news is we're almost at the end of the talk. So yes, I am a fan of Toy Story, but also of Star Trek and Big Bang Theory. So I can't do Captain Kirk's voice, but it usually went like this: space, the final frontier, and these are the voyages of the SS Enterprise. So I want to send you off with Telehealth, the next frontier. And these are the voyages of Telehealth SA. Our mission: to explore our strange new world, to seek out new ways of life and connection, and to boldly go together where we've never gone before, to infinity and beyond. So, as Suzelle usually says, because anybody can, and I'm saying because any OT can. And then there are just some quick references after that. And that's
Awesome.
that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, MARELE. Wow, what an informative session, and to make it very practical also for the therapist. And you did a really good job today. And I mean, everybody was commenting. I was following the posts, and everybody is definitely astonished about the fact how beautiful your PowerPoint presentation was also. And thank you once again for making it practical for the therapist. I think it's going to help a lot of therapists to actually now go and think practical on how they can do their sessions with their children and with the adults. And yeah, but you did a splendid job today. Thank you so, so much. So there's a few questions that came on the group. I'm just going to quickly open it up for us. So when you do recommend a game, MARELE, do you send the game link before your session to the parents, or how do you go about?
Well, I've never done it before, so I'm going to recommend what I think should be done. I would definitely send it beforehand, because I think something might seem appropriate to me, but not all parents think the same way that I do. So I think I would send the link beforehand so that the parents are also okay with whatever we are using. So I would send it beforehand, and especially with the younger kids who need help setting up things, it might be good for them to do it beforehand.
Yes, awesome. I think it will definitely make the flow also easier of your session if you do send it beforehand, especially using any third-party app. For all therapists out there, if you are using a third-party app, make sure that you do send it to the parents, or that it's open on your computer to easily share it with your patient, and it will make the flow a little bit easier. We will be having a practical session where we will show how you can play around with different apps, especially for speech therapists also, because I know that the speech therapists will be using quite a lot of apps. So I think it's going to be a nice informative session also. So stay tuned in for that also. And then MARELE, there was a question, and I think it's a lot of people are going to ask this. Is there a place where they can go and find more information, or are you willing to present more seminars for the group, obviously through your company, I2E? Is there a place that we can maybe look at something like that?
Definitely, Tian. At the end of the PowerPoint that I will also be sending to you to make available to everyone on the page. On the last page, the contact details for myself and I2E, the company, is there. So myself and my colleagues will be more than willing to assist if there's a further need.
Awesome. And then there's also been a question, would you be willing to do an online session with us as therapists playing these games?
Definitely. My motto is usually the more the merrier. So I prefer group therapy above individual therapy. I'll have to learn how to manage a group online. I'll take some pointers from Hanneke, and I'll follow the page to see the pros doing it. I've never done it before. But that is actually something, after my first session today with the little girl, my immediate thought was, I can do training like this. I never thought it was possible, but it really, for me today, the penny dropped, infinity and beyond, then why not? So most definitely, and I think I'm actually part of a group of therapists volunteering to do debriefing for some of our medical staff who are really doing a lot of hard work in the line of fire, so to speak. So we're exploring that. In terms of what they're seeing and dealing with every day in the hospitals. So it's something else that we can explore.
Yes, awesome. This morning also in my session before we went live with Hanneke Jonas this morning, Hanneke said something quite powerful, and I thought I would like to share it also with the group today. And she said, if you haven't tried it, you cannot criticize it. And I think it's quite important. I know that there's a lot of people still wondering how they can do this, and they're still struggling to think outside of that box. And I think, MARELE, today you just showed us once again that it is possible. And so yeah, go and try it. I think the message that we also want to bring across is that go and try it. Play around with the technology, and also then ask friends of your children to work on them, and just see how it goes. And if you haven't tried it, don't criticize it. I think well, it has been a great afternoon session this afternoon, and MARELE, we're just definitely going to keep you to that. We're going to have an online session with all the therapists on a Zoom conference, and we're going to try and see how we can keep our therapists also positive in this process, because we know that even though our patients out there do need us, we also know that we as therapists also need to keep sane, and we also need to the tools to actually equip ourselves. So thank you once again for equipping us this afternoon, and we know that this is going to go viral. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiaan, and good luck with the job that you are doing.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.